Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in. I'm Crypto Vatsik, and I would really appreciate it if you hit that like button to support the channel. And if you find this content helpful, please don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss out on future updates. As always, this is not financial advice and are my opinions only. All right, let's get into it. All right, so today I'm going to provide an update on Bitcoin from a macro scale, meaning higher time frame. So essentially zooming out on the chart to check in on where we're at. I posted a similar video to this a few weeks ago, and not a huge amount has changed since then, but we see more price action now on the chart. And as this has developed, it will help us conduct further technical analysis, and either our thesis will at the end of this video will remain the same or otherwise known as intact, or we need to evaluate if things have changed enough to reconsider. So I'll get into that right now. Okay guys, so in that previous video, I provided this same exact chart and I had marked out my buy zone down here. Okay, so we were trading at around just above 30,000, I think at the time. When I marked out this buy zone, I said, if price gets down here, I'm going to start accumulating. Okay. And so there's a reason why this zone was put here on the chart. Okay, and I do cover this a little bit in my previous video, but I'll just recap it quickly for you right now. And so basically the main reason is there's a couple. Okay, so there's the first one, which is a bit more obvious, right, is that it's our previous all-time high. Okay, so we had our previous market cycle all-time high at 20,000, which is just a psychological price point. Okay, but the second reason here is that we had this area of bullish consolidation, right? So we had the all-time high over here established, and then we came back up years later and it respected that area right here. Okay, so we had, this is called bullish consolidation. Okay, we're hovering around it under the resistance and essentially smashed through it. And once we broke this area, look at what happened, right? We had, skies were clear. Okay, so there's those two reasons that I just like to start off with why this area is so significant. Okay, and so we'll just go back to what we're seeing right now. Okay, and so I had marked out the buy zone, and what did we do? So we came back down, we made our macro low. Okay, this huge wick here that we made on June 18th, and essentially that marked our macro bottom for the time being. Okay, and so we did chop up, and we got into these ranges, which I'll show you in the next chart, but essentially the thesis remains the same, right? Is that this is still my buy zone until it's invalidated, okay? And so we came back down multiple times. I've had chances to buy within this area, okay? But it's held this as significant demand. And so this overall thesis that this is my buy zone is still intact, okay? So this is still not it has not been invalidated, is still intact. We're seeing a very huge wick right now, okay? Currently this candle on the daily, very strong candle. Okay, we came back down, a little bit of a spring action here, which I'll get into more in a second, but basically this candle has been all the way down to this point to just over 18,000 and is potentially going to close green. Okay, so a bit of a spring action here that we're seeing, came back down, so there's definitely still demand in this area. Okay, it has not been broken. And so to keep myself objective though, right, is that I'll stick to this rule of thumb. That's my rule, that this is my area of accumulation until proven otherwise, right? And an invalidation would be a break of this macro low of 17,600 area, okay? So if we do break that, then my next target is basically just the previous high of this wave one impulse that started out this bull market, okay? So that's sitting around 13,700 and change, okay? That's our wave one impulse peak that started this basically from an Elliott wave count, okay? If you believe that this is not the end of this cycle and we're still to get our fifth wave, then essentially that would be my target if we broke down. Okay, so we'd be coming back down, I would say, to at least that point, which would invalidate that Elliott wave theory that this is the wave one impulse of a further 5-wave structure. Okay, but however, if we do break this zone, I will basically put on pause my accumulation and wait for the next bottom to wait to see where that significant demand is. Okay, and my expectation is it would be in this area around 13,000, just under 14,000. Okay, and so that's what I'd be looking for if we do break down below here, but there's no reason to believe that's going to happen as of yet. From what we're seeing on this chart, we are still seeing demand down in this area, and sellers are being bought up. This liquidity is being taken up quickly. Okay, now if this theory that this is our bottom for now if this theory is correct, then we should see some relief, at least some significant relief on Bitcoin here very shortly, okay? So if we're not going to break this macro low and we're going to see a relief rally, then we want to see something come back out of this green box, and we want to break this previous high, okay, at the top of this range, which I'll get into, right? And so the reason why I say that is because if sellers cannot break this point, then that liquidity is going to be bought up, okay? And we could potentially see something like what we saw. So if we just go back, okay, so our 2018 bottom, bear market bottom, okay. So basically this was our previous 2019 bear market bottom, okay. So this is basically from December 2018 to March 2019, okay. So we made our macro low, we were not able to break it, we kind of bounced around it, we had this area of our start of accumulation, okay, our initial accumulation at the bottom, right? And so what we had was essentially we had a massive break in market structure when we had this massive candle come up. And then obviously at that point, it started to look very much like a bottom when we started to get up to these prices, and we took out this inefficiency of these candles up here, right? Basically this free fall, we took up that inefficiency in the market, okay? And so quickly we started to think, okay, this could definitely be our macro bottom, potentially our cycle bottom, okay? And so I'm just saying that obviously if we were to see something like that, right? Okay, at this point, if we were to see some chop, okay, let's say, first of all, we get some more chop, okay? But then if we start to see something like this, one sec. Okay, if we start to see something like this, okay, where we have this period of potential accumulation, if this is, right? And so this is what I'm talking about. If we get a big, strong, I mean, this is quite massive, but if we get a strong candle, something like that, right? And we start taking up this inefficiency up here, we smash this previous high of this rally here, right? And we come back up, we break market structure, we make a new higher high, we take up this liquidity, and we break out of this. This will very quickly start to look like at least a midterm bottom, right? A mid to long-term bottom. And I'm very hesitant to call a cycle bottom because no one knows where it is, and we could come back up and then we could come back down, in the future, right? So without getting too far into the future, predicting price action, this is, potentially a scenario where I would say this is what I'd be looking for, right? And so that's where I'd be scooping up in this area. And that's why you'd want to be scooping up in this green zone. You mark out a buy zone, okay? And that's your accumulation, right? If this is accumulation, we should expect to see something like this. And this could be a bear market rally. It could be the cycle bottom. I don't know yet. I won't pretend I do, but that's what I'm looking for, okay? That is what I want to see. And that previous cycle bottom where we break through the market structure, okay, we break through that ceiling that is resistance, and we don't break this low, and then eventually we get tightening and congestion, and then buyers just smash right through. We start eating up this inefficiency of these long black candles here where there's not many levels to play with, and yeah, so essentially that's what I'm looking for, okay. And it's always good to stay objective, obviously, right? As traders, we need to stay objective and not just assume this, if this does play out, that this is our cycle bottom, okay? This could be a bear market rally, which essentially, in that case, you'd expect something like that, right? And then potentially come back down to these levels again, sort of thing, on a high time frame macro scale. This could be just overall a lower high kind of thing. And don't take the squiggly too much to scale, but essentially we could come back up and come back right back down, right? And so my point is that you want to take advantage of these bear market rallies because they can be really profitable. You come up, 50%, possibly 100% before coming back down and round tripping your trade kind of thing. So I will be selling, some at some point up here. Even in my long-term bags, these accumulation zones, if I'm trading, I'll be trading, that's fine, altcoins, whatever. But essentially, I'll want to be taking some off the market, right? In case this is just a bear market rally, we come back down, right back down to your entry or potentially lower, right? We just don't know what's going to happen, okay? So at this point, this is a good area to be taking some risk, in my opinion. That's what I'm going to be doing because it has a clear invalidation below this area. You can cut your losses. If you're wrong, sort of thing. Okay, so that's what I'm doing. And people saying that this doesn't look like a bottom, this just looks like it wants to come down further. Yeah, I'd be inclined to agree, but my argument would be that different tops, different bottoms, right? So look at our previous tops. We had these high peaks, right? So high peaks and then basically V reversal all the way back down. Huge bear market, super high peak. And what I mean by that is like super parabolic, right? So we're coming up and then it's basically straight up and then straight down kind of thing, okay? And so that is what I mean when we have these peaks, okay? These peaks versus the top that we just had, right? I mean, a little bit different, right? We haven't really seen this before where we've had kind of two peaks, one that just cracks the other, and it's almost rounded off the top, right? So I'm not saying that, that this time is completely different. I'm just saying that it could be a different looking bottom than what we've experienced, right? We're clearly not getting the same bear market that we had previously, right? With these down ups, down ups, down ups, these huge bear market rallies in between before a final capitulation point, right? We just didn't really see that, just really limped over and came right back down. So different tops, different bottoms, in my opinion. Okay, so we could see something we have never seen before. Okay, guys, just on to the next chart here. This is something I shared on my Twitter on September 9th. Okay, I said we had swept these two previous local highs into supply. Right now, we're coming into supply. Could see further bit more action going up to the upside. But ultimately, I was looking for longs, and I wanted to get long down lower, okay, in this green box where the previous area of demand was. Okay, and so that's exactly what we saw, you guys. We came all the way back down to that previous area, except we had this massive wick down below, this liquidation event or this spring, whatever you want to call it. We came down and tapped some of this liquidity over here in this macro low that we had. Okay, and so came down further than I expected, but this is basically playing out so far. Okay, we came back up on the squiggly. I don't know if you can see that. Okay, we came back up. Okay, tested a little bit more of this liquidity in the sweep of this previous low, and then right back down. Okay, so basically deviation over the mid-range EQ, came back down, hovered around in that area of demand for a little bit. Okay, came back down, kind of tested it, and then it failed. Okay, so now we're actually below it, but at this point, I just think that the overall thesis, we're in this range still. We've tapped this bullish order block down here. And this is it's a decent looking candle. I mean, there's definitely demand, we could still kind of hover down here. But now I would say basically we really don't want to break this low. Okay, so that would be kind of my key point. I would really like to see that hold, absolutely. But otherwise, like I said, not much has changed. Okay, so we're still in this range. We came back up. We just tested some of these previous areas of supply. Okay, that's why we got the check marks. We haven't tested this supply up here, but we easily could. That's not to say it can't happen. It just means it kind of is untested, and we're just continuing to test this lower range band, right? So we're just coming back down. Nice bounces, and it's still clearly demand, right? So no reason to get too scared or to get be spreading FUD. I mean, people get super bearish near the bottom, but in my opinion, nothing has changed at this point. And what I mean by nothing has changed for me is that I am continuously entering in here with a tight invalidation. Okay, so this is my buy zone that I previously showed you. Volume's picking up. That's nice to see as well. But essentially what I meant by nothing has changed is that I expect a relief rally coming soon. And so what happens, with less experienced traders is they start getting bearish near the bottom. Okay, we've all seen it. They get bearish near the bottom and they think that we're going to come lower and they want to get in lower. They want to get in. They see people on Twitter saying 14K, 12K, 10K. And they think they can get in lower, so they're going to be patient. They're going to wait, okay? But then perhaps this is a macro bottom, and we shoot up, and we start to do this, and we get a break in market structure. We get a bear market rally, and then up here they start getting bullish. Okay, they say, oh, okay, we're at 30 plus K now. We're going up, and we're going to go to new all-time highs. The bottom is in. I wish I bought the bottom, but it's okay. I'll start to just ladder up my buys on this run. And what happens is then you come into supply, and then you come into resistance, and then we come back down, and then they're underwater again. Okay, so you just got to be super careful with that and get your emotion out of it. Down here is the preferable area to be taking risk because you have a clear invalidation. And I mean, essentially, where do you want to be buying? Do you want to be buying halfway up this to all-time highs, or do you want to be buying down the low or the potential low, right? So just my thoughts. Anyways, stay frosty out there. manage your risk, and this is a marathon, not a sprint, right? So time will tell, but at this point, nothing has changed. So thank you for joining. I really hope you appreciated this video and you learned something or took something away from it, whatever that might be. That's my goal here. So thanks for joining, and I would really appreciate it. Yeah, if you subscribed and liked the video, that would be awesome. Thanks for joining. See you on the next one.